Okay, so our first step is to mount our mounting plaque. This is where the system is going to be held on. Now, we pre-drilled the holes before I put them up there. You want to get an idea of what you're going to be mounting it to. Here in this case, we're going to be mounting it to a piling, which most docks do have. And I went ahead and pre-drilled each hole because I knew where I was going to be mounting it to. Now, the pilings are pressure treated wood, so they are very difficult to drill into with a large lag bolt. So I went ahead and pre-drilled each hole, and once you hang the board up, you're going to want to get the first screw pretty snug, and then once it's hanging there and you don't have to hold it anymore, you can go ahead and pre-drill all the other holes that are already lined up. Be careful not to move the board, because if you move it, then you're going to lose your hole, and you just want to go through and pre-drill it. Now, as you can see here, the holes are not in a straight line. I did that because if they're staggered, the board is going to be a lot more secure. Now, here I go and start just drilling each hole out, and I'm switching in and out of different bits. Here's from a different angle so you can see when I'm drilling through and going all the way in, and then pulling the drill out, switching a bit to the socket. And you want to have a pretty good, powerful drill to do this with, and make sure the batteries are charged. And once that board is nice and mounted, you're good to go. Okay, so here we are unboxing the new underwater fish light system. Be careful not to cut too deep down into the packaging, because there are wires and stuff like that you don't want to cut into. Here's some zip ties that you're going to be using to mount your weights to your lights. And here's some instruction pamphlets and some brochures. Make sure you read through the warranty packet and all the brochures to make sure you have all the information that you need. Now go ahead and start setting the foam off to the side. It's packaged in there pretty tight, so you want to make sure that everything is all secure. And as you're unboxing it, a lot of the times that's the most common time for somebody to break a light bulb, so you do want to leave those light bulbs in those boxes till right before you put them in the water. Now go ahead and keep on removing that foam. You want to be able to pull that system out all in one piece. It's very easy to do this with two people, but it is manageable to do it by yourself. Here is the photo sensor that makes the system come on every night and then shuts off in the morning. Here is the weights that are going to be used to hold down the light bulb. You're going to have 3 of them, 1 for each light bulb, and this is a 3-light system. So make sure you have 3 of them, and then go ahead and set those off to the side. Go ahead and pull the system out. This is where 2 people could come in handy, but it is manageable to do it by yourself. Set the cords on top of the box, and go ahead and just kind of hold it up. And then set the box off to the side. And then place the system down. I always lay out all the cords so I know what wire goes where, and it's very easy to hook up the box and string everything out if you work with 1 wire at a time. So we want to be able to take the box and go through it, make sure nothing is cracked or damaged, to give it a good look through. And we're going to be going through the system, and this is where we're going to place it. So this is going to be the part where we go ahead and mount the box to the starboard. Go ahead and cut each zip tie. The reason for doing this is to give yourself a little bit of extra slack, so that way you're not holding the box and those lights up there, because that box does get pretty heavy, especially if you're installing it by yourself. Give yourself maybe about 3 to 4 feet of extra cable so that you can move that box around a little bit. This is going to be the hardware that's used to mount the box to that starboard right there. You're going to want to go ahead and take off each nut, so that way they're ready to just push through the holes. Make sure not to lose any screws or any nuts. Now we're going to go ahead and actually hang this box on that starboard right there. Have the screws ready to push through the holes to help you hold the system up there. This is another part where two people would come in handy, but we already have the holes pre-drilled, so you're able to hold it with one hand and take the screw and push it through, and then go ahead and take the other screw and push it through. Now it's kind of holding it there, and I want to still keep one hand on the box and then go ahead and get one screw started. So now you take the bolt, push it through, and take the washer, make sure that goes on, and then go ahead and place the nut on the set back side. Screw it down nice and snug. Then you want to get an adjustable wrench and a pair of pliers. Hold the nut firm and take the bolt head and just give it a couple extra turns to snug it down nice and tight. Now you want to go ahead and string the cable all the way back, unravel the entire length. The reason for this is to get all the loop-de-loops out, because as you can see the way that it's laid on the dock, you definitely don't want that to be laid out like that on the bottom of the canal floor. Makes it very easy for a fish hook or something to snag that cable. So you want to go through it and just spin it with your fingers. As you can see as I'm going down this cable, just spinning it will get all those loop-de-loops out. You want to do that for every cable, the entire length. So now it's really important that you get the cable behind the boat lift, because if that beam right there, right above my head, goes on that cable, if you have a really low tide and you're blowing your boat down, you want to make sure that boat lift does not get anywhere near that cable. So you want to make sure it goes behind pilings or somewhere where it's not going to touch. As you can see here, I'm actually feeding the cable behind that piling. So now I already got it in the coil. I'm just going to leave it in the coil and go right around this piling and kind of feed it through as I go. This is another area where two people would definitely come in handy. Okay, so now you got the cord. I would usually put about 10-15 feet straight down, so that way when you deploy the light bulb and put it out quite a ways, you have some extra slack to work with. Now we're going to attach the weight to the cord. We use 2 zip ties that are supplied with the kit. Go ahead and feed them through one at a time. Okay, now we have the zip ties in place. We're going to go ahead and attach the weight. You're going to slide the zip ties through the holes, and you want to snug down on them, just not super tight quite yet. You want to give it about 2 fingers. That's a little long, so we're going to shorten it down a little bit. I'm putting this in about 8 feet of water, so I want to make sure that light bulb's real tight close to the bottom. You want to make sure you go ahead and cut those tips off, get it an extra turn, so it snugs that down there. You definitely don't want to have that loose, so that light bulb would float up. And once you have it like that, now we're going to check the depth of the water. So you want to just be, I already know it's 8 feet, but this is how I check it. You want to be able to put the pole out there or put a 2x4, something out there to get it somewhat of an accurate measurement, and then you're able to figure out the height of the light bulb. Okay, so this is the question I get asked most frequently. How do you deploy the light out in the water? Well, this is how I do it. I have a painter's pole with a little bait net on the end, and I can kind of just push it out there like this, and it works out really well for me. Now, a lot of times people can use a pool skimmer. The most recommended way is with a kayak or a boat. You could have somebody standing on the dock feeding the wire out to you, and you could just back up. I recommend going out about 10-15 feet away from your dock, and then at nighttime when that light's fully illuminated, you can just kind of pull it back to you and get it in that ideal spot. Okay, so now we're going to be installing the photocell. This is a very easy process. It does not come already installed, so you will have to pull it out of the box and then go ahead and have that eye facing you. And then you're going to set it on the top of the box, push down, and then turn counterclockwise a quarter of a turn. You should be set to go with that. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call and we can guide you through that. Now, I want to go ahead and button up these wires here and make them look all nice and fancy. You can do so with a couple simple zip ties. I usually get black zip ties. It seems to work out a little bit better and blends in a little bit more. Okay, I'm just finishing up buttoning up the plug, making it look all nice and neat. And the last step is going to be plugging it into the outlet. That's going to be your very, very last step because you want to make sure that everything is secure down in the water. It's very important that all the light bulbs are mounted in the water before they are illuminated. There's no need to test them when you get the system. We do all the testing here. We test each light bulb about 3 to 4 times before we ship it out the door to reassure that the bulbs do work before you get them. So this is going to wrap up the video. If you guys ever have any questions about your underwater fish light, please don't hesitate to give us a call. The phone number is on our website along with our mailing address, but you can reach us at area code 941-391-5846 or 855-FISH-LIGHT. Alright guys, this is going to wrap it up, and I hope you guys enjoy your new underwater fish light. Thanks.